I'm still your Elohim. I have never cast you away. The one who called you out of darkness from the ends of the earth. I will strengthen and I will help you. I'll uphold you with my right hand. I will strengthen and I will help you. Uphold you with my right hand. La 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 la. I remind you, I will help you. I will never cast you away. All of those who strive against you, all the mountains in your way, they will be like dust before you. The wind will blow them all away. You must fear not, O Jacob, my servant and my friend. O Jacob, O Israel, my servant and my friend. When you pass through the waters, I'll be with you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. La, 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 la,
Hello, welcome back to the channel, you guys. James Block, he's the musician, exclusively on the Codesearcher. Hello, I'm Jonathan, your host on the Codesearcher, and that was James Block, you guys. I would encourage you to go find his music on the internet. You can also find him on YouTube. Welcome back to another broadcast. All right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about a code here, in particular, one that's been on my mind here recently, exclusively, and I think is very pressing, and that is the threat of World War. I'm not going to toot my own horn or harp over some of the examples of the times that the codes have been correct and my analysis has been spot on, but I do want to take you back to one video in particular that happened right before the first eclipse in the Great American Eclipse pattern that took place, and it was my analysis of what I thought that was going to take place. And I just want to bring this up because it's going to segue into the code that I'm going to share with you that Michael Drosnin found in the mid-1990s, that myself and many other code searchers, including the rabbis, have worked on. So stay tuned for that. For those that have been waiting to see codes, we're going to be talking about codes here on the channel again. I've been released to do that. So that one in particular, and the reason I say that is because on the flight over here to Hawaii, this was on my mind. I was looking at what was going on around the world. You guys, I had called what is going on in Israel based off a sign in the zodiac. We had a comet that came through the sign of Judah and the sign of Virgo, Leo and Virgo. It was seen off the East Coast right before sunrise a few months ago, right before, approximately 3 weeks before what Hamas did in Israel. And I had made a comment based off of my observation of that particular sign that I believe that war was imminent, particularly with Israel. And look what happened. So on my flight over to Hawaii, this was on my mind. It's these proxy wars that we're seeing going on, you guys. And by the way, I've been chomping at the bit to share these things with you, but because of the situation I'm in, I haven't been able to. But now that I'm legal, I can. So we're going to be talking about this, okay? So, and I'm also going to be strategic in how I talk about it because I do not want to get any more strikes. You guys, I had to erase something like 400 plus videos in the past 2 years because I've gotten dinged twice, 4 different strikes, 2 different times, about 3 months apart. And it was very stressful because one more strike and you're out, right? So I had to erase and dump a lot of videos. And one of those videos was the Kissinger video that I did in late 2017, early 2018. And for those of you that have been with me for a long time, you remember me talking about this because in the conversation that I had sitting here on my computer the other day with one woman who had wanted me to look her name up in the codes, was talking to me about the timeline and asking me what I thought, what was going to happen, how much time we had left. And, let me just kind of pull that up because just so you'll have reference and see that I'm not just pulling your leg. Um, I just went into a casual conversation, just like I would with anybody that asked me the very same question. Um, it's the very same answer. There's no different in what I say. It's what I've seen in the codes. And by the way, I look everything up in the codes, right? If you know me, you know that about me. And here's the conversation. I want to screen share this. I want to show you what I was saying at the very moment that Cheryl Bolton messaged me and was asking me about the very same subject because of what I said in the Kissinger video. Okay. So Cora is asking me about, Trump and she's asking me, basically, do you think we have a lot of time left? And I say, not a lot of time, maybe a few more years. And then she says, listen, he showed me about Trump, right? And she's talking in broken English here. And I say no more than 10, I mean, in 10 years. And I truly believe that. If you look at all the prophecies that have been fulfilled and everything that we're going through, and everything around us, we can't have more than 10 years. That still has to take place. So this is what I said. We are very close to what the prophets describe as World War III, and in particular Zechariah. When Zechariah talks about and he describes the shape, I kid you not, the literal dimensions of a Triton missile, and it flies across the face of the earth, and that the destruction it does. Man will be standing there looking at this, and their eyes melt in the sockets, and the tongue in his mouth. All those things are talking about a nuclear attack. Okay. And I'm summarizing in a lot of this that I'm talking about. This goes way back. Midah keneged midah is a concept of the Bible, measure for measure, but then also for iniquity. And what is iniquity, right? One of the things that Yahuwah hates most is the shedding of innocent blood. So if we drop 2 nuclear weapons on Japan and shed innocent blood in World War II, and Midah keneged midah is true, that means we can expect that kind of attack to happen to us. Also, with the added effect and the caveat of iniquity, that means 7 times greater. Okay. So I say to her, China is a huge threat. So is Russia. And not only Russia, Iran, right? China will attack the West Coast, Russia the East Coast, subs and landing crafts on both coasts. And she says, I think this year, the war. And I'm continuing on what I'm saying to her. And I said, this is after an EMP, or an atomic attack, one on each coast. And you know, I saw two in what the Holy Spirit was showing me, but I now believe I understand that a little differently. It's two in the sense that it's each coast, but it could be multiple warheads or multiple strike points in those coasts. Okay. So more than one, but very strategic and low yield. They do not want to destroy and prevent landing craft to be able to come in so they can take over what is in the interior. What's in the interior of the United States? You ever notice why they got all kinds of tunnels and stuff that go to Colorado? And you got NORAD and all that kind of stuff, the control points that are in the interior. This is where all the resources are, you guys. All the agriculture, all the cattle, all the natural resources like minerals. Utah is loaded with minerals, copper, silver, uranium is a big one in Utah. They got gold and silver and uranium and copper and many other things in Nevada and Wyoming and Montana, Idaho, even Oregon. All these places are rich in natural resources. Who wants that? Well, who do we owe the mortgage to? Who do we owe our debt to right now? Who would you say? Where would they be coming from? Okay, the answer to that is China. When you don't pay your mortgage, the bank comes and gets your house. We owe trillions and trillions of dollars in debt to China. China is not on good terms with us, right? Especially if they kick off something with Taiwan, we're in deep trouble because they outnumber us now, right now, in military strength, you guys. It's unbelievable. Not only that, China has been training for years in the Pacific doing amphibious landings. Why would they be doing that? Who are they planning on invading? Is it just Taiwan? I don't think so. The west coast of the United States is a perfect landing zone for amphibious assault groups. It's very flat. This is where they're going to come in. The Chinese are going to come in from the west coast, and they're coming for the natural resources because we owe them the money. Iran and Russia will come in from the East Coast. I'm putting all this out there right now. Okay. I realize it's a risk for me. It's really putting myself out there, but I really got to say, based on the accuracy that I've seen so far in this channel, and guys, we have been very accurate in what I do here and interpreting these codes. I've been right about both Obama elections, the Trump election, the Trump loss to Biden. You guys saw that. I've been right about every single one of them. Why? Is it because I'm smart? No, it's because I can see what the codes are saying, in spite of what the rabbis claim. The last time Trump was going to win, and then suddenly Glazerson switches that, and well after I declared it that Biden would be the president, and you guys know the details that I specified in that, it all happened. How? How did I know that? What I saw in the code. So let's go look at the code. All right. Now, like I said, this has been around for a long time, since the 90s, this particular one here. And this is not an updated version, by the way. I'm currently not able to open my code program on this particular computer that I have here. I got to get that fixed. But I am able to pull up the old versions of this particular code that's been preserved in PDF by Lewis over there at his website. So the code here is called Atomic Holocaust. That runs through the center, as you can see there. And all the players are here, you guys. Now, you got to remember this code, I worked on this code, and this what you see here, like in 2014. Okay. So this is why it's got Obama in here, and you don't see the word Trump and Biden and things like that, but they are here. I have subsequently looked at this code and found those names here. Trump's name here, Biden's name here. And the reason is because this whole thing's been set up since the time of Bush. So Bush's name is in here, Obama's name, Trump's, Biden's, And, you know, all the variables here are just incredible. Iran, you see in black. War is here 3 times. You see it down at the bottom here with the word submarine sharing a letter, Alamid, right? Submarine sharing a letter in the Passover, which kind of gives us an indication of when this may take place. We can see this is all about curses and abominations for America. This is why America is going to pay a price at some point, you guys. And in just a moment, we'll focus in on this cluster that has got America running right through it, which is incredible. But I want to point out the other places where war appears. You got war here, war here, war here. That's 3 times. It also appears at a skip of 7 right above where it is in the plain text. And then you have China connected there. Iran is there. Russia runs right through there with the United States. Brit Hadashah, excuse me, Masoto Brit is right there in the blue. I don't know why I said Brit Hadashah. End of days, right in the plain text, talking about, you know, an event happening in the end of days. And I apologize because it's a PDF. We cannot cite the English in what I'm showing you, but we can do that at a later date. I do have this on record here, you guys. Like I said, Russia's here. Korea is also here. United States, Islam. There is a Islamic variable to this. You know, Iran is fighting proxy war with the United States and other countries in Israel. Russia's fighting a proxy war. The Houthis, you know, all that is proxy. So all of that information is here because this is what it's building up to. At some point, I believe the United States is going to be ambushed, you guys. There's no question about it. The fact that other people have had premonitions and, you know, visions and prophetic experiences like Henry Groover and what's his name, the Russian, the son of the Russian preacher who defected, Dmitry Duduman, that guy also prophesied that he was prophesying about a day where there would be Titan or Polaris type missiles that would be coming off the coast and striking the United States. We see all the elements for that here. Absolutely. And you guys are, you know, from what I see with the election, and I do have codes worked up on that. I do have an opinion and analysis of what I see on the election. I don't know if I want to release that now, but, you know, basically, it's going to be a shocker. I know everyone wants to see Trump back in, but I cannot find that in the codes. I'm not saying it's not there, and I'm not saying it's not in the Peshitta, which I don't have access to at the moment. But other code searchers have claimed that they found evidence that there would be a re-election. If you look at what's taking place with him right now, and consider the fact that we have a code that's an older one, the Trump code, where it has the assassin will assassinate right next to his name, indicates that there's a possibility someone's going to try to kill him. Okay, you can see how that is a possibility here. They do not want him back in the office. And I'm telling you, they want Biden back in because he's going to resign and Kamala's going to take over. If you recall, I do have a code on Kamala as president. What a shocker. Listen, this is what they want to do. They want to get not only the first woman, but the first Black woman as the president. And he couldn't be emote. Listen, if there's anybody worse than Biden being in the office, I think it's Kamala Harris. And I think it's going to cause a lot of chaos in our country. And it may be a place where other countries feel we are weak and we can be attacked. I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, you guys, but I have been right in some of my analysis. Okay. So it's very possible. And I've been talking about that with my friend, and he don't even want to even think like that. But you guys, This is not really about Biden. This is Obama. Okay, Obama is very close to Kamala Harris. He was the one that recommended her to Biden. We do have a code on her, and it indicates that at some point that she gets in there. I could be wrong about my interpretation of that. It could just be that she has the possibility of being there. But in hindsight, we will know for sure. Okay. And when we do, I'm going to pull that out. And we're going to talk about that a lot more. But as it stands now, it looks like that's the way they want to take us, man. They want to take us in that direction where we're very weak and we're at risk of being ambushed. So I think this is a very valid code. It's the width of this is just 1044. So this is very in a very small area. Let's take it a little closer and look at some of the clusters here, like where you have America running through here in the blue. You've got judgments that cross over that. You have NATO in the green, the children of Israel, and in the red, FEMA, as in FEMA camps. Okay, all that clustering in one place. If a war happens, and this is very, most Americans can't even imagine this. They can't even fathom this. But what would happen if we attacked on both coasts, right? And the infrastructure is knocked out. We got EMP stuff going off. And by the way, Obama did a movie called The World Left Behind. If you have not seen that, you need to go see it, because he is telling you something in that movie. And I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but I think it's this right here. There's going to come a day where something's going to happen. It may be far from where you are, but suddenly you're going to be cut off. Phone's not going to work, electricity's not going to work, and you're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to have access to the internet. You're not going to have access to news, right? Not even carrier pigeons, right? Things are going to be crazy. Nothing's going to work. You're going to go to the gas station, you get gas, no gas. All right. And you're going to try to figure out what is going on. Well, watch that movie and figure out what Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, because they wrote that movie and they produced it. They're telling you something in that. I think it's this. They know something we don't know. So that's what I got to share with you right now, you guys. I think it's pressing. I'm trying to get an interview with a lady who texted me on the phone. The very words that I was texting to Cora that you saw there on Facebook, I kid you not, the very same words. Didn't you say this and that and with the Kissinger? And that's the whole story. Because I said some peculiar things in that video about that particular code and what it would do in the end times, what it would be a way that Yahuwah proves himself in this, because that was 2018. How many years have it been now, right? How many years has it been now? And does it line up? Let's look at something. I want to take you back in time to right before the eclipse. This is something I said in 2017. All right, 2017. Here's what I said. About 3 minutes in.
Coming solar eclipse.
It's about the eclipse.
I don't mean to make light of it either, because historically, the ramifications of this kind of event usually is very profound. So please allow me to take a few minutes of your time to show you a few things that I've come across and what I've discovered in the codes. Now, there were, I don't know, 100 of you that saw a video uploaded around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I very promptly took it down. And I just want to...
By the way, this was in 2017, right before Trump took the office and right before the total eclipse had happened, and long before COVID. Listen to what I say in this.
Explain that. When you stops me 3 times from doing a video or putting up a table, I know it's very clear there's something else he wants to show me. So the table I had was incomplete, and that is why the video came down. And indeed, he showed me some more things that were extremely convincing. If you would allow me to show this to you, I think you'll see something really profound here as well. So, without further ado, let's just look at solar eclipses historically. And, I want to thank Brother Steve at Discover Ministries, who brought this to my attention in one of his recent presentations. August 21st, 1914. Now, the solar eclipse we're going to see is August 24th, 2017, so roughly 100 years ago, thereabouts. There was a solar eclipse that went across Europe, and not too long after that, folks, well, as a matter of fact, I think World War II was just getting started, about 2 months in, and then there was a solar eclipse. Now, this is...
You guys, I say World War II in this, but it's actually World War I, as you can see there. I misspoke. I misspeak a couple of times in this. It was very late when I did this video.
Always throughout time have been a bad omen or some sort of sign from the Most High. He's telling us something. The scriptures are very clear that he uses signs and wonders from the sun, moon, and stars to communicate with the Mazzaroth. Now, at World War I, some 9 million combatants were killed, and 7 million more civilians died after that. So take that in consideration. It was a solar eclipse, a very profound one. And then World War I.
Another place I misspoke right there. It was clearly, as you can see in the text right there, it was 70 million people. So it was a very bloody war that happened. All right.
Incidentally, there was one also in World War II, even greater casualties there. But before we go to World War II, June 8th, 1918, the path that you're going to see here in August is the very same path that went across the United States in 1918. Now, why is this significant? Well, at the time that this went across, America was entering into what would be the worst pandemic the world had ever seen up until that time. Some 500 million people.
All right, so exactly 100 years to the date, just about, because this was in 2017, so 1918, and they had done a movie called 1917, which is about World War I, America going into the war, how the pandemic spread through, and by the way, I believe it was man-made, and it was spread through the soldiers in an attempt to depopulate the earth, because it started at a fort in Kansas, and through the rail system and through the ships to Europe and all around the world where they were going, they were spreading this disease. And what had happened, we had this eclipse pattern that started, one going one way and then the other going the other way 7 years later. So my thoughts was, what happened in that? So we had a pandemic, and then we had a world war break out at the same time. So I've been calling this world war and a pandemic since 2017. And I was right about the pandemic. It happened. And I wasn't the only one. You had Bill Gates and other people talking on TED Talks about disease X and this upcoming pandemic. Well, the stars have been telling us that these things are going to happen. All these celestial events have meaning. The Father is telling us something. And so this one that's going to happen April 8th is very significant for the next 7 years of America's history. So continue to watch this. And this is very profound, you guys. This is one of the times where the analysis was spot on.
Were affected by this, and some 100 million died. I think it's somewhere around 670,000 Americans. So at the time of the crossing of this eclipse, America was just getting started with a plague that was striking the nation, and this thing went right across, just as it's going to do in just less than a month from now. So That's August 21st, 2017, the very same path. Now, does this mean anything? Does it mean there's going to be war? Is there going to be a plague? What's going to happen? I'm not saying something's going to happen on the day, folks. Please, I'm not making any predictions here. I'm making a educated observation here, and then I'm about to show you something in the scriptures that the Father put there 3,500 years ago, because the access term we're going to look at is eclipse 777, which is the Hebrew year 5777. This year, Jubilee, quite possibly, and here we have this very significant solar eclipse upon us. So let me just, before we go there, I want to take you back to Yellowstone first, because not too long ago we just talked about Yellowstone, and if you recall, it has the eclipse in here. You see, this particular table is a Torah code. It is found exclusively in the Torah, and I believe it does resonate judgment. It's very clear of that. Many of you are looking for this rapture to take place in September. Well, I believe there's a catching away that is definitely connected. Yeshua will fulfill the remaining feast to the moment. But I do believe it's connected to the second coming, not a pre-trib.
You guys, why the reason why that's important, if you recall, there was a prophecy about Revelation 12 in the sky. This happened in the time that I'm talking about here, and that's why I referenced that people were waiting on this rapture to happen, and I don't believe that's what. If you look at what Revelation 12 is talking about, this is when the children of the woman go and hide. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. It was indicating the beginning of Jacob's trouble that was about to take place. That is what was happening. And also, these signs we were seeing in the stars with the eclipse is also indicating Jacob's trouble. We found the COVID code shortly after this. As you can see there, I vaguely called it that very possibly we could see A, world war, and B, a plague. One of those things happened. The other one is very imminent. All right. So we were very spot on with the analysis on what the codes was telling us about this event. That's why I'm stressing that, right now, that because of that experience with these two ladies and the fact that I was thinking about it already, that's 3 witnesses right there that this is very possible in the very near future. And I would predict probably after the eclipse season. Which is April 8th is when that takes place, you guys. So let's see what else I said here.
Rapture. We will see some tribulation, folks. It's very clear. Yeshua said, "Ye shall see tribulation." Now, the reason I'm bringing this table out before I show you what I just found, and I was so motivated to get a video out to you at 3 o'clock in the morning that there were 3 different things that happened that caused me not to do that. So I knew there was something else they wanted to show me. This verse that runs through there, if you recall from the video I did on Yellowstone, is talking about the destruction of this rebellious people because of their sins, yada, yada, yada. You'll see it in the next table I'm going to show you. But notice here it has plagues in here. So we are at, apparently in this table, close to the seals. The 6th seal is mentioned. There are several dates, and the current year is also up here. Now, fast forward over to the table I'm talking about. Now, the Yellowstone table, this is the same one you just saw. This is my file here, not the annotated. And if you recall from the last presentation we did on this, I'll just update you. Nibiru was found here in reverse. This is a planetary body that is possibly connected to Wormwood of Revelation 8 and will make an interaction with our solar system, I believe, and will cause chaos, plasma discharge, and the like. We have earthquakes over here, a time of Sukkot. Sukkot is a huge...
And if you recall, I did say, in my opinion, that these events will coincide with Hebrew festivals and that at some point we're going to see the interaction of Nibiru at some point, some kind of planet. I don't mean a star like our star. When it used the word kahav, we're not talking about a star like the sun. We're talking about a planet, something that moves, something that's got some mass and can interfere with, you know, gravity and things like that. So that's why that word is in there. All these things are expected. When we see, in my opinion, when we see World War start to take place, we will see the interaction of this exoplanetary system, aka Planet X, Nibiru, Wormwood, whatever you want to call it. That's when this takes place.
Hebrew a feast, that feast of Yahuwah, that is still yet to be fulfilled. It is the very last one, tabernacles, when we tabernacle with him. So it just happened to be lined up with earthquakes. That's, you know, a significant anomaly there. So Wormwood, Nibiru, earthquakes, we covered that. Let's go to the other one now. Now this is what I just pulled up last night. Really not a lot of time in it. A few hours last night, or into the night, into the morning, and it's a few hours today. Several things I did find like this here, since, and this, and a couple things down here, since I tried to do that video. So you're in luck. There's more content here. Just hang in there. It's because I want to show you the correlation between historical fact, things that have already happened, with a solar eclipse. You will use it as a harbinger of warning, folks. So we have the eclipse, Tav Shenan Zayin, which is 777 Hebrew year we are currently in. We have the word plague going across there. What we have highlighted here with the United States running through there is the very same one you just saw in Yellowstone. You see Nibiru right there? It's the same one. See, it's running in reverse, and here's the verse I was just talking about we're talking about destroying this people because of their wickedness, right? Well, here's a new anomaly that came up. It's really profound. I don't know what it means. I had to double check it with Darla. Even got out the dictionary to make sure I was right before I did this video, because I was just kind of blown away by it. But we got Torah, which is trumpets. This is the very same word, Yom Torah, which is, if you want to call it Rosh Hashanah, this is the time of trumpets up at the top. In the skip of -50, folks. Now this is got Jubilee written all over it. In reverse is Et Zorah, which is a time of trouble. Right? Then we have a comet involved. There's a comet. There's also next year. So we have the current year.
And by the way, there is a comet involved with the eclipse that happens. I think it's a sighting. I got to go and double check now. I want to say it's a sighting spring. It may be ponds, whatever. I got to double check that. But there is a comet involved in this next cycle, and those are very significant as well. So that's an interesting that has the word comet in there.
And then next year as well.
A lot of these tables are retroactive, by the way, where we see a lot of these things taking place later. So this is why this is significant. I'm doing this in 2017. Look how young I look here. It's clearly, you know, a while back. So it's really interesting to see these.
Next year is also down here with the Nibiru and Wormwood coming together. There's also those three letters marked is death. We also got the United States down here, war. That's the other thing. Remember how the connection with the solar eclipse. Traditionally, with these tables that are dealing with the end times that I've been showing you, we've seen war 3 times, which have told me World War III, World War III. However, there have only been a few times where war clusters in more than one occasion, and it kind of stands out. So we have it here actually in 5 times in the plain text, and then 1 time in a smaller ELS. It is actually all over this table, but I streamlined it down to only the smallest skip and kept those. It seemed to make out a pattern. We do have the word Zophon in here, which is hidden back up to this anomaly. That very same word you see there in the blue is here in the plain text. The plagues, remember plagues from Yellowstone. You see right there. It's the very same word. We've got Nibiru over here. So that is it right there. Now running down, we have Netzer Arav. Netzer Arav with Ketz and the fallen. Connecting to Nibiru. Now what's Netzer? Netzri is where it comes from. Nazareth. Yeshua of Nazareth is the Netzer, a branch. It is also the word used for Paul. Was it in Acts, Darla?
Yeah,
Where they refer to Paul as the Netzri, from the sect of the Netzri. It means guardian or watchman. It is also the term used for the first believers. The body was called the Netzri. It was not called the church, folks. So the very same word for the body is the very same word for the watchman or the guardians. The guardians of what? The guardians of the way. The guardians of the truth. Okay, so connected with Nibiru, and plagues, and fallen, and Ketz, which means the end, is the very base word of this word here, which is Achret Hayamim, which is the end of days. It's the very same. When you permutate those two letters together, it means the end, the very end. It is very clear to Hebrew-speaking people when they see those, it means the end. And you have Netzer Arav, which means the ambush of the watchman. There's an ambush involved with Nibiru. Could it mean that it catches them unaware? There are not many of us that talk about this star. I know one good friend of mine, Planet 7X researcher, Gil Broussard, sees the same kind of connection. It's a harbinger. It's connected to the end of days for sure. So there's a Netzer of Arav, an ambush of the watchmen or the guardians.
So you guys, you can watch the full video on that. We're not going to just watch the 21 minutes of it. It's very interesting to see the things that I was talking about in relation to this, because I do have Planet X codes, very significant. We can see the anomalies happen in the world, all the electromagnetic anomalies that are happening, the sun anomalies, earthquakes in the earth, all the things that you see in the prophecies about what will take place. And we know that we have a perturber in the solar system that is causing these things, the creation of the Almighty, and this Planet X idea does play a role. And like I said, I believe as we get closer to this World War event, we're going to see a interaction with this. This is also going to cause chaos in the earth at the same time, simultaneously. And by the way, I believe this is when the angels in the river Euphrates are released, and we see what they do, the destruction that takes place. This is during that time. So I don't have a timeline on that. I can't say it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm basically giving you my analysis of this, but it's very close. There's no question about that. We are in Jacob's trouble. Somebody was just asking me that on the last video that I did when I was talking about Jacob's trouble. We are in Jacob's trouble now. It's a time like never before, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, you guys. And I don't like bringing you bad news, but somebody's got to tell you. I mean, there's no surprise that we see all these attacks on the believers right now. Basically paralyzing us and bogging us down so that we can't do what we were called to do. Right? That's how the enemy works. Okay. So it's no surprise. So I'm going to continue to bring you codes, you guys. I apologize. The past couple of years, I have been, like I said, bogged down in this thing that I've had to battle. And it was not appropriate for me to be sharing these things with you, especially after, I get a warrant out for me. It would not be appropriate for me to be doing videos, but all that is handled now. I'm legal and I can do codes, and will continue what I've been called to do, you guys, until Yahuwah calls me home. And so we'll be talking about these things further down the road. This is just one of them. I would like to talk to you about the AI stuff that I've been finding. You guys, do you think they were flashing something to us with the Terminator movies and all the movies in the coming from Hollywood years ago? Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's things that we're about to see take place now. It's shocking. But it makes sense, especially when you understand that we're talking about disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, and they want to inhabit something. And so how are they going to be reanimated, right? This is very plausible. It's shocking, quite frankly. And I think there's been evidence of portals and things like that opening up. You guys have seen the stories coming out of places like Miami, and I was down there. There's something going on with that, right? So we're living in a time where we're seeing Bible prophecy take place, and so I appreciate you guys' love and support of the channel. I am going to continue to do what I was called to do, like I said, and thank you for those that stand with me and enable me to do that continuously. Yeah. Again, I am in Hollywood, Hawaii, and I'm handling my business, going through the fire, and I can use your prayer and your help if you would able to help me financially. You guys, this has been very costly to me. You cannot even imagine. And by the way, I am writing a book on this experience, so there'll be a point where you can read about the whole story, everything from beginning to end, and all the things in between. I have not been able to talk about that, and that's been very difficult for me. You guys know my personality. I don't keep anything from you, and I never have. So the fact that my counsel said you can't talk about it, left me at a disadvantage. My enemy just ripped me to shreds, made all kinds of bad times for me. Okay. And so I've had to endure it. And now I get my day. And we're going to see the tables turn. So thank you for those that have been praying with me, believing in me. Mom, I love you. Thank you for never doubting your son. Martha, Christina, Martine, Rabbi Jacob, Kevin, Chef Scott, Miss Barbara, and if anybody I've left out, I love you guys, and I appreciate you praying for me and sticking by me, and this is going to turn out in the right way. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Shalom to you. May Yahuwah bless you. If you would like to help me, please use the link down below. Shalom to you. See you in the next video.